Welcome to the latest edition of the DBS webinar series, Insurance Insight, where we tackle in-depth topics, dig deep into breaking news, and scour the industry for the people who can give you the information you need as a financial professional. In these sessions, we give you the tools and analysis so you can better understand the products and solutions that will help you help your clients. Now, here's your host, Kurt Fasen, DBS Sales and Marketing Executive.
Welcome back, everybody. It's good to have you back with us again for another edition of the DBS Insurance Insight. And this time I'm very excited to have my good friend Chuck Anderson from Securian Financial with us. Chuck and I have been good friends over many years. Chuck, probably over the last 20 years is my guess, or more. Chuck is the National Sales Vice President at Securian Financial. He leads the independent distribution individual life insurance group. He has over 35 years of experience and goes back to the years at Prudential Select Brokerage, where he helped form that home office and later became the Senior Vice President and later the Senior Vice President of Business Development. He's active in NELBA, NLIDMA, ACLI, AALU, now Fonseca, and was honored in 2015 as NELBA's Chairman Award winner. He and his wife Terry live in Minnesota, and Chuck is also a proud cancer warrior after beating out cancer just last year. Chuck, welcome.
Thank you, Kurt. Good to be here and good to see everybody.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here. And so tell me just a little bit about your current role, Chuck, and how long you've been at Securian.
Just kind of missing part of the question there, Kurt. Just current role and just kind of faded out. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your current role, Chuck.
Well, I joined Securian Financial in 2018. So it's just been a couple of years now. I did wrap up at Prudential, had a great retirement there in about March of 18 and was very, very, very thrilled to get reconnected to Ben Roth and the Securian team. I had about a 3-month hiatus and started with Securian in June of 2018. It is a outstanding company. It's early on in its brokerage evolution, about 12 years of being in the independent marketplace, about 10 RVPs that I get to work with, and the concentration for the last couple of years has really been focusing on the resources we have deployed in the home office, now remote, everybody working remotely, but taking advantage of top talent in the sales organization, getting our case management aligned, very strong underwriting group, advanced sales group, marketing, and really facing off in a way that I think is going to make us, currently successful and even more successful in the future, working with organizations like DBS and your advisors. So I'm really excited about where I'm at and where we're going.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that background. Hey, for those of you that have not joined a DBS webcast in the past, I want to remind you that the reason I keep glancing down is I have access to the chat online feature. If you have questions for Chuck or myself along the way, please feel free to ask those questions and we'll do our best to answer them as we go. So Chuck, my first question for you, talk to a little bit about Securian's strategy for navigating through all the crazy from last year.
Yeah, I've really developed a good attitude about what's gone on since the shutdown in terms of the lockout last March. You get to choose when you're in a situation like we're in. You're either going to stay on offense and roll with it and maximize, or not. And we really chose the route of going on offense, taking advantage of the unique aspects of the pandemic to make us even stronger. And in many ways, I don't think about, that we're going to go back to normal at some point, because where we were prior to the pandemic is not where we're going to be once we put it completely in the rearview mirror. And that will happen. I'm very confident by the fall of 21, we will start to actually be able to do in-person meetings again, get to see people live and in person at DBS, Also attend meetings like NAILBA and all the organizations. But the lockdown for us, the shutout, if you will, moving people out of the office happened very quickly over the weekend of March 14th. I want to really acknowledge all of the processing home office teams at Securian. We really had a very fast and rapid transition to operating completely remotely. There was a lot of elements of that required tech support and people being flexible, but we feel very proud that we were one of the carriers that didn't even lose any cycle time, any response time as a result of the entire operation going remote, literally over that weekend. The one comment I'll make about the sales team, I mentioned we have the 10 RVPs. The other cool thing about 2020 was my partnership with Nancy Cook and a gentleman by the name of Bryce Nordon, who works in on our sales team. He leads a team of sales consultants, of which we have 5 of those. And we've always had sales managers that face off with the RVPs and the BGAs. But we merged our teams. So the 5 sales consultants working hand in hand with our 4 sales managers, we launched 2020 with a team of 9 individuals really working with our BGAs, of course, keeping in lockstep with the RVPs that are assigned. But the whole intent there was to really strengthen our support for our BGA partners, and in many respects go narrow and deep. We likely had 700 or more BGA contracts at the beginning of 2020. While we still have a large number, we're very, very focused on the top BGAs in our system and across the life brokerage industry, of which DBS is very high on the list. So you're part of Libra. The DBS organization is a powerhouse in the brokerage industry. So in addition to Tom Ross assigned as the RVP, we have Richard Toma as the sales manager, working very closely with you, Kurt, and your team. And then a gentleman by the name of Ryan Heelskove, who works in a backup capacity to Richard. The 2 of them can work together. Ryan does case design and other work that helps support our efforts with DBS. We've also strengthened our case management team this year. So we have a dedicated case manager assigned to DBS and working closely with your new business staff. So very much aligned for doing more and better business with you. And that all just happened right at the same time of the pandemic. And we my attitude is we've just taken it in stride, and we're going to keep moving forward. And opportunities like this is a perfect example of something we would not have done had it not been for the pandemic. Kudos to you and the DBS team for making this feel like a real television program. You guys all of a sudden pulled out every CNN skill you had and put this thing together. The other comment I'll make is that, post-pandemic, I think we're going to continue to do virtual. It'll be a mixture of virtual and in person. So it becomes, I think, exponentially better for us to use both this capability plus getting to return face-to-face at some point too. So we're going to come out of this stronger and better.
Yeah, no question. Boy, a lot has changed at Securian, and it's great. My hunch is the advisors that are listening either to the rebroadcast of our presentation today or live with us in person, they went through the same type of things, trying to figure out how to work remotely and things like that. And we've talked about that a fair bit on these calls. I do have a question that's already come in from the field. So Kelly is asking, why, Chuck, it sounds like you're very passionate about the BGA model. Why the passion?
That's a great question. I love talking about the BGA model. It was something I grew up with in my Prudential experience. At the end of the day, years and years ago, when life carriers had career forces, captive agents, and there's still some pockets of those in the industry, including companies like Prudential and Securian has 1,400 career advisors. But what's happened, I think, that's really good for the brokerage business, the life brokerage business, and now including products in the LTC arena like our Secure Care and other linked benefit products. The marketplace wants choice. In fact, in the last 5 years or so, even the legislation and regulatory environment is always talking about best interest and making sure there's a comparison and there's a, best offer kind of, making sure multiple offers are being shown to the client. So many factors that make choice important. And that's where the BGA model comes in. And I think of DBS as one of the first examples of a mighty organization that offers choice to the different advisors that you support. In addition, manufacturing a life product, and we can talk more about that, is extremely challenging. And this is a situation, I think, where the carriers are focused on that manufacturing process, the pricing, all the risk aspects, servicing that business, and then work in partnership with distribution. So our focus is in the national accounts organization like Libra, and then its top members like DBS become our distribution partners. And that's a huge endeavor as well. So we kind of divide and conquer, with us focused on manufacturing, you all focused on distributing. And I just keep going back to choice and access as being key.
Well, that makes a ton of sense, right? Because today everybody wants choice. I mean, we've got Amazon and everything else out there. So BGA really, our model really provides people with that choice to get the right product at the right time for the right situation. Let's switch gears now and talk a little bit about your vision for maintaining easy for me to say, operational resilience. Talk a little bit about that, Chuck.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I mentioned, in the middle of March, when we went completely remote, a big part of that was making sure that every associate in the company had a high bandwidth connection and the right tools. We're fortunate at Securian. It's a 4,000 member corporation company, mutual company, located right in St. Paul. We don't have multiple sites. We have some different organizations, some field partners, and even some member companies that are in different parts of the United States and even Canada. But our company, the brokerage life business and the secure care business, is all housed in St. Paul. We all went remote, but we were able to be very nimble in terms of continuing to work closely with each other. There was a rapid deployment of even hotspots to different team members that didn't necessarily have the strongest bandwidth in terms of their internet connection. So those things were handled very quickly in the first 10 days of going remote. The biggest part for us from a resilience and operational standpoint was that when I joined Securian, I learned of the Right Fit program, and automated underwriting under the leadership of Jake Jones and John Helberg and others at Securian really came out as a leading program in the 2017 timeframe. Since I've joined the company, I've been very impressed with the fact that we have an over 60, now 65 or 66% acceleration rate on policies coming in through the Right Fit program, up to $3 million to age 50 and $2 million to age 60. The point there is that the majority of those cases are getting turned around without, 2/3 of them getting turned around without needing the exam, without needing labs. So that was very crucial for us, is to have Right Fit ready to go. We were, at the same time, we were really building out our drop ticket platform. We have a proprietary e-app, and now also available on the generic iPipeline tool, and then also e-delivery. So those three things kind of put there as a really nice package. We can all remember back to the first 10 or 12 weeks of the pandemic that very few people were leaving their home. Nobody would be scheduling an exam or having somebody come into their house for that. So we fast forwarded and accelerated our usage of that Right Fit and other capabilities right from the get-go. And then on the sales support side, since we were already excited about deploying nine team members and having, like I said, Richard and Ryan facing off with DBS, the only adjustment they had to make was that they weren't going to be traveling, that they really flipped immediately to using tools like Zoom and Microsoft Teams and and just anything digital and virtual to get out to see everybody. So that it wasn't easy, but we made it happen. And I think
well, you did. And what it sounds like, Chuck, is the key message in all of that was adaptability and flexibility, and coming up with ways to get your people connected, coming up with ways to connect with either partners like ourselves or others, and then finding a way that it can be easy for, at the end of the day, the end customer. So let's talk about the learnings from last year. What has changed in your personal philosophies, and what guides your decision making?
Okay, well, just to make 2020 even more challenging, I had a nice, concise cancer episode in the last part of 2020. It was discovered by accident. So when your doctor tells you that you need to pay attention to something, good advice to everybody is don't take it lightly. Be proactive. I happened to have a tumor show up in an X-ray for a kidney stone. Definitely not happy to have a kidney stone. Got through that, but because I had that event, I was able to find out there was a small tumor in my right lung. So pandemic starts. All of a sudden, I'm dealing with a cancer diagnosis in September, and thank goodness for the Mayo Clinic and great are just a very strong health system in general in the state of Minnesota. Within a few weeks of diagnosis, I had surgery, all contained stage 1 cancer. And so I really just in the last couple of weeks kind of reached the 90 days post-op. And the best part was a report that said that the cancer did not spread. And at this point, I'm like, it never happened. I just have to periodically check in with a CT scan to make sure it doesn't come back, and I'll make sure that it doesn't. So, when everybody dealt with a lot in 2020, I got to add the cancer episode, but from a personal standpoint, and I worked with a great team, all of us really banded together quickly. We used to have hallway conversations or quick stand-ups in the work area. We just kind of flipped that over to a group text. And we used to be able to huddle quickly to solve a problem, especially if it was something related to a BGA like DBS. We've reverted to, if we need to, a 15-minute huddle on Zoom. So everything we could do in person can be handled in different ways. And I'm just always been a person with a positive attitude and resilience. And this will pass, but during the time when we're still right smack dab in the middle of it, let's make things work. Keep our sense of humor. Keep our business focus, and probably the most important thing I'll kind of end with on this thought is just mental health is so important. And everybody, the best way to kind of help with your mental health is to help each other. Reach out to folks that you work with, including your clients and customers, and make sure they know you're there for them. And I think the human touch right now is more important than ever. So that's my quick.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you, Chuck. I mean, making that connection is so critical. So let's turn outward to our guests that are on the call today. What should the financial professionals that are joining us take away from last year, in your opinion?
I'd start off by saying that I hope that the need for, or the conversation around the importance of death benefit is definitely been raised. There's a lot of signals in the marketplace. One of them that I've just been getting some different conversations going recently about is the number of people taking advantage of easy access term insurance, whether it be a commercial where you can dial into a select quote or another multi-carrier provider, or those simplified products where it's a guaranteed issue or simplified issue. Those are all on the rise right now, and that's because of the awareness that a health crisis like this one creates. People are very aware, unfortunately, because of statistics we hear, and I'm sorry to say also loved ones that have been touched by the pandemic, that we all need to be thinking about that, no matter what age you are, no matter what stage of life you're at. So I think that's key. Any financial advisor on this program, and those that are considering working with DBS, you couldn't pick a better partner locally here and really across the country on a national level to work with for life insurance. And I think that's a great foundation, is getting people to remember the importance of not just a legacy, but just the protection for your family. And then building off of that, I think at this time, and even though it's a little more difficult to get time with your clients, there are less distractions in most people's lives. Hopefully people are starting to travel again and do some fun things, but you should be able to get access to their time. And it's almost like it's been a bit of an interruption, and there's no better time when things are maybe a little bit less active for you to come in and do some planning, deal with the trusts and whatever else is needed for your financial planning, and engage with somebody like the members of this call to see how they can help with a policy review, new coverage, estate planning, any need that they have. I know that you, Kurt, and Terry Getman and the team there will get them to the right solutions. So,
yeah, we'll do our very best. Boy, I've got a lot of questions coming in for you, Chuck. I'm just going to grab one of them here. This one says, where do you feel advisors need to be looking in 2021 with regard to products and how they may best help their clients? Is it just term that they should be focused on in the short term?
I don't think so. I mean, I view it's been good for me to be part of Securian Financial. Many of you know my background. I was involved in a lot of term product sales, and I continue to think of it as a super strong foundation. I know we'll play a quick commercial at the end about Securian. We have outstanding term products. We actually have some of the best conversion privileges. We may not be the lowest price at the larger face amounts, but you get a lot more for your dollar with a Securian term policy, just from the conversion privileges that we offer to any one of our permanent products. But this is an important question, because every year you're kind of looking into the what's happening in the marketplace, and you need to make some decisions about where you're going to focus your product efforts. And that goes for carriers, BGAs, and advisors. One key product avenue that I wanted to make sure I spoke about today was variable. So a number of advisors are already looking at variable as a key lever for their clients, whether it be accumulation or protection. There's never been a better time to really look at variable. We have index products still very strong, but with cap rates coming down, any client that is a little bit in between whether they should go on a fixed indexed route or a variable route, really look at the variable advantage that we have. The carriers are investing more in that product. There was a turn away from variable maybe 10 years ago for a number of reasons. I think it's back, and there's no better time to kind of make variable part of the picture. Maybe my biggest message on the product story is to leverage diversity. There's no one size fits all. And what I mentioned earlier about DBS's advantage of bringing choice to the advisor, the marketing team members that you have and those supporting your advisors, Kurt, I know are very, very good at looking at all the potential solutions, looking at multiple carriers to make sure that you not just price, but examine all the features and benefits that are available, and any education gaps that your team has in terms of the advisors, your key customers. You're in great hands with the team at DBS to get those questions answered and help you make the right presentations and provide the right answers to your clients.
It's very kind of you to say. I think the thing that I noticed the other day, we're looking at expanding the team internally just a little bit, and I was talking to one of the candidates, and I said, I think we have nearly 300 products that we have available to our advisors, depending upon what organization they're affiliated with. And that really sends a message. We have a lot of different options that we can help people understand, and we've got the people that can help understand it based on the situation that we're dealing with. Yeah, you're talking about the change to variable and working differently. So it sounds to me like you're saying the profession has changed. Do you think it's a permanent change, Chuck? Do you think this is temporary? And more importantly, do you think it should be for good? Is this it? Have we made the big shift?
I think it's been changing in this direction for a while. I think that the unexpected nature of the pandemic in 2020 accelerated our usage of digital tools and working virtually, right? So that can become an advantage. It was a necessity in 20 and now into 21. It'll be a key advantage as we get into the future years where we're not talking about a pandemic every other day or every day. But it's really a continuum that I think in the, way back 30, 40 years ago, it was more of a career advisor-driven system. Over the last 10 to 20 years, and especially recently, what I think is the quintessential, the best type of financial advisor is someone that is registered with a broker-dealer, that they've in the early stages of client acquisition, but have really become, we use the term financial professional or FinPro. Those are the individuals, the men and women that can work with high net worth clients, families, businesses, to connect the dots between, make sure that they take the time to think about the different protection and tax related needs that they need to address. And then in partnership with you and your team, Kurt, can come in with the right solutions. Nothing ever gets done without a strong new business team. So, I've always been just 20 minutes away from DBS. I know you're all mostly greatly working remotely as well, but you've got talented underwriting skills there, new business case management, and I think the leader of your operations team is a former Securian executive that I got to know before she got recruited over to DBS. So it takes that kind of power to get things done.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's take a look forward, and I want to go back to Securian now, and I want to talk about 21. Think about 21 and talk to us just briefly about Securian's financial position going into this year.
We have a Comdex of 96, so we're very proud of the high financial ratings. I'm never, reluctant to boast about Securian from a financial strength standpoint is obviously a cut above, and it makes a huge difference when you think about the types of clients where, and especially in this environment, that they might have some trepidation about the different parts of this that are risky. They want to make sure that they're being backed up by a super strong rated and strong financials at a company like Securian. So that to me, it's kind of foundational that at the beginning of every conversation, whether they're vetting, working through an organization like DBS, and then whichever manufacturer, whichever carrier is on the list, they want to go through the financials and really understand if it's the type of company that they feel is going to be resilient despite the times. And that was a good example for us. And we've definitely had to make some adjustments in the last year with the interest rate environment. Our sales projections, regardless of what type of product you're talking about, have been affected by the different financial variables this year, but we're poised and ready to continue to do business in long into this decade and many future decades as a result of that strong financial position we have. So we dealt with this in the late 2008-9 timeframe with the financial crisis. We're dealing with it now, and this too will kind of hurtle into the next round of what I think will be another boom coming as the economy takes off again post-pandemic.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, you kind of hinted at this, but I'm going to tease it out a little further. Talk to us a little bit about products and pricing in 21. What what you probably can't share everything, but just give us a little peek under the hood of what you're thinking.
Yeah, we had a little bit of the whole industry got a surprise, in some people called it the Christmas surprise or the unexpected Christmas present. And I won't go deep because I'm not an actuary or even a product champion. We could sort of set that up for another discussion. But the 7702 Section 7702 changes that have just recently been coming out, and in terms of needing to make some changes in 21 to our products with the different MEC rules and other calculations that were part of 7702. So kind of a good news, bad news is that's going to concentrate a lot of resources toward enabling that change to occur. Every carrier in the market is looking at their pricing, and I think it's one of the benefits of having a strong independent distribution network is that it really keeps the carriers in check, that we're always going to be compared with our peers, and you're going to be looking to see which one can give you, currently right now, our variable product is one of the leading in the industry. So there's always going to be that choice process that your team helps them with. And I don't, other than the cap reductions that we've had to deal with in the the IUL marketplace, I don't really see significant changes that are going to occur in the pricing front. Kind of a continuation of where we've been the last few years, that you will see changes happening, and DBS will keep your team and your customers well aware of where the pockets are most competitive. And it's never only about price. So we'll focus on the strengths we have outside of price, like financial strength or underwriting. There's many other things that you bring to the table. So yeah, I don't see a dramatic change, but I kind of see what we've dealt with for the last 5 years and 10 years just continuing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. It is beyond price. Sometimes it's what strategies you can support. And so I want to talk a little bit about what strategies you think, or topics that we're going to see focused on from a carrier standpoint, from an advisor standpoint in 21.
Yeah, well, you mentioned earlier about term. I want to make sure that every listener, everybody that's involved in working with an organization like DBS remembers that protection layer has to happen regardless of everything else. That at the end of the day, it's kind of like the first 3 questions with the client interview is about, where you're at financially, your family situation, your other financial commitments, and how much protection is needed for that space. Kind of the next layer, and kind of from a key strategy standpoint, is taxes. And I know that's a big area that DBS is well versed in, and one of the best tax experts, Terry Getman and others on your advanced marketing team. But every client that's in a situation that's dealing with either estate tax or just their taxes during retirement needs to be very focused on that. So that's where our accumulation products come in to play. And we'd love to do further discussion in a webinar format, or once we're back in person. Kurt, I know we can meet up with your team and with different advisors at a lunch meeting or other kind of a seminar type setup to get into strategies that the client can really work with to help them with both the estate tax and just managing their taxes during retirement. One of our concepts is called prepay your taxes, and there's a number of pieces about that. And then the third key area, you got protection taxes, both estate and in retirement. But then I really want to keep us very, very focused on the business needs, that insurance that relates to all the business needs that the clients of your advisors have, and that runs the gamut between small businesses where it's a key person, key man insurance, all the way to strategies in the executive benefits arena. Those needs that the businesses have, buy, sell, key person, and other benefit type programs. I think are crucial. And I know those are three lanes that you guys work very well in. The fourth one, I always got to throw one more, is the long-term care needs that the clients of your advisors have. It's a very important product line to Securian, and that's our Secure Care product. And in that space, we're very proud at Securian to have one of the best linked benefit products in the marketplace. And it's one of those conversations. It's kind of like when you bring up term insurance. Everyone needs to remember that 7 out of 10 of your clients over age 65 are going to have a long-term or kind of chronic illness need happen in their lifetime. And I'm at an age too where it's actually my in-laws are in that situation, and so it hits home that there are needs that come up. You want them to have control and choice, and really to not have that be a worry at whatever stage of life they're in. So that'd be the fourth one, is making sure your advisors are thinking about LTC and linked benefit products, and come to you guys for help there. I should mention John Thomas is our Secure Care RVP that's assigned to DBS. And I know he's been there with Richard on several occasions, and he's backed up by a very, very strong, dedicated team, just like we have on the life side for Secure Care.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, we do a lot of linked benefit, and know John well, and obviously have provided those solutions to our advisors throughout the years, and expect we'll continue doing that. As you say, it's a foundational building block. You put your protection in place both on the life side and on the long-term care side. Chuck, we got another question. It says, for financial professionals, what tips would you give to reaching out? What do you think clients want to hear, and what help do they most need from their advisors?
That's been something that we've been talking a lot about. The question kind of comes back to us is, how do we engage the advisor? The advisor is looking for ways to engage the client. And I mentioned earlier that there is a bit of a advantage right now that people are less distracted, hopefully not going too crazy being in the quarantine situation. But even as we're coming out of it, I think people are still not at the point where they're traveling or doing things outside the family network or the home as much as they were certainly over a year ago. So I think it's a good time to connect. What we find is that for the most part, in-person contact is there's a small sliver. So I'm seeing some signs of that picking up, and different parts of the country where you're hearing about people getting together for a small meeting, maybe wearing masks or being social distance. But the vast majority clearly is happening on a virtual level. And I really stress that I think we all are subject to a lot of spam emails and just things coming at us too fast, that my advice to the team trying to reach out to our BGA partners, and I think the same goes for you with your advisors, is be thoughtful and selective. There are some strategies that say, well, just send out 1,000 emails and you'll get 50 responses. I think it's in all of our best interest to be more personal, and I think of the marketplace as a marketplace of abundance. There's more opportunities to fill needs for both our group and yours, and with your advisors. Find the ones where there's that personal connection, and where somebody is genuinely looking for a partner to spend time with them, and then make that connection virtually, and find ways to not let the quarantine be a obstacle, but just flip over to, well, since we can't get together with the client in person, what are some other ways we can talk with them? And it is amazing how many people are doing a three-way FaceTime call, or they're leveraging their own personal accounts with Zoom and other tools. So I don't look at it as somebody should say, that they can't get together. It's just how we get together and keep moving forward.
Yeah, no question. You know, as I said on the onset, you and I have known each other a long time, so I have a guess how you're going to answer this question. But Chuck, how are you feeling about 21? What's your outlook?
You know, a year ago we did not know what was in store for us in 2020. This year we definitely know. You know, our knowledge of the impact that the pandemic has had is you know, it's huge. We have almost way too much information, and some people are trying to almost, you know, kind of push it, compartmentalize it a little bit and stay focused on the positive things. But we're starting out this year in still a bit of a lockdown, people in quarantine, but we have kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, which is the vaccine and really all indications that things, you know, our ability to connect in person is going to start to increase, I think, this summer and definitely into this fall. So I think my outlook is that I'm very happy from a Securian standpoint that we're remaining strong. We're actually in a position to grow in a number of the product lines we talked about. We're definitely growing on the secure care side. And so it's not, there's no holding back, kind of full speed ahead. And maybe the other part of the outlook for 21 that's important is that by September, October, there's going to be almost the floodgates are going to open up with people having opportunities to hop on an airplane, meet in person, and both from a corporate Securian standpoint and a personal standpoint, I'm kind of looking at this as a time to be very, very mindful as we go into the post-pandemic phase, that what things are working well that we're doing as a result of being kind of in a lockdown. Which of those things do we want to continue doing, you know, throughout, well beyond this pandemic? And then as we start to work with more in the in-person kind of once the restrictions are lifted, how are we using our time and our travel dollars and our connection, our ability to connect in a very strategic way, so that where we end up with in 22 is a really powerful mixture. And maybe from an outlook perspective, I'll say, well, 21 is going to be a good year, not huge. We're not going to have a big spike, but maybe what we're building up to, the boom maybe is a 22, 23 type time frame that every time we cycle into this phase, there's a big rise coming out of it. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to wonder what it's going to be like when perhaps you and I are at the airport at the same time this fall. And boy, you're certainly going to want to have your Clear Pass or your TSA pre-check, because I think a lot of people are going to be heading to the airport to get to go somewhere for some reason. And you kind of answered our next question here, which is when you think things might get back to quote normal, whatever that's going to be in the future. And it kind of sounds like that feels from your comments, maybe later this year, in fallish type of time frame.
Yeah, I'm glad that I knew that we had this specific question. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but hey, let's take the word normal out of it, right? So to me, that's not really the goal. Normal, if you want to consider, if the definition of normal is where we were in 2018 and 2019, to me, everything was great. Then we're going to be better coming out of this. And so to me, it's going to be a hybrid of where we're at today. I didn't talk specifically about our home office, but just like many other carriers and financial services and other companies, Securian is very focused on how do we best operate as a corporation, a company, this year and into next year. And I think it'll be very different. I think that there are a number of teams that I work with that have found that they're more productive and effective in a remote environment. We'll probably have more shared space in the headquarters so that teams can continue to operate most effectively remotely. And then, kind of as we're able to move in back to the office, they'll kind of mix their time between remote and in the office. I'm very delighted to be part of a company like Securian with all the way from the CEO and across the leadership team. Very, very willing and eager to kind of be adaptive. And, so that kind of goes back to that normal thing. We're really not trying to go back to things prior to 2020. It's what does it look like coming out of this? And every indication is that it'll be better, more efficient, and effective. So kind of exciting.
I mean, really, as you think about it, it's actually exciting to think about where we could be learning what we've learned this year so far and last year, and taking the best of the best and bringing that forward. And no matter if you are an advisor, if you're a BGA, if you're an insurance carrier, all of us have found a better way to work and work together in the future world where we've reset and raised the bar, if you will.
Yeah, exciting is the word, and really what you've pulled off at DBS is amazing. A year ago, Kurt, this wasn't in your plan to host a nationally televised or webcast program like this, and I know you've had great success with this. But that's what makes it better, is learning how to do new things. I love hearing stories from advisors. I spoke to one on the phone the other day who has literally converted her practice to almost working on the front step of her client base through the storm door, if you will. So, it's somebody in a nicer weather climate, but people like to have that personal connection. But and what it does is it allowed her to not use a mask because of the glass door in between. Probably have to speak a little louder, but but that's just one of many examples of people being adaptive. And thankfully, younger clients, especially, I'm a parent of millennials, so the idea that something needs to happen over the kitchen table isn't even part of their memory.
No, not at all. Not at all. And yeah, you're right. I don't know if in today's weather, I'm not sure if we got up to 7 or 9 degrees here in Minnesota, so I'm not sure that specific approach would work here, right? But but it would make sense in a lot of places. So you've talked a little bit about this. I'll let you kind of close with your comments around what. So you've talked about a lot of change, and so the plan to keep your business strong during this time of a change as we get ready for our next phase later this year.
Yeah, I talk a lot about engagement and execution. And the other point that I think I made earlier too is about, we're kind of going a bit more narrow and deep with our relationships. And that's something that's always been a strategy of mine working in the independent space. So really delighted to get, and feel like it's a great partnership between Securian and DBS. And, that you're kind of at the top, kind of in that 80-20 part of our system where you're very, very well covered, good coverage across the country with your advisors, strong team, and great support in your headquarters. And so working with firms like yours, not that we're discarding some of the smaller BGAs, but we're kind of focusing the engagement and execution parts of our strategy out to the best of the best. And the fact that we have additional team members calling on our BGA partners like yours is a big help. Kind of started out 2019 with just 3 or 4 proactive team members working in support of the RVPs and the BGAs. Now we have 9, and then really benefiting from the other parts of our Securian home office that become important talent banks for the brokerage industry. Channing Schmidt and the advanced sales team, Donna Lissick and the case managers, John Helberg and the underwriting team. They're as much engaged with the business that comes from DBS at Securian as the sales team is. So you're not just dealing with a single point of contact. It's really we use the term pod. You have a pod of team members at Securian focused right on DBS. So that we're just going to keep that going strong. And be very, very happy when I do bump into the airport in the fall, going somewhere, hopefully the same location.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, hey, Chuck, don't go away, and everybody just hang with us just a second. I'm gonna let Chuck grab his breath here a second, maybe take a sip of water, and
Yeah.
We're going to go to just a reminder of the DBS resources. Boy, things continue to change every single time we do this. I talk about the changes, but we are constantly getting updates from our various carriers on underwriting changes and other solutions. Make sure you check out the DBS website. It talks about our COVID Resource Center, gives you a little bit of an update of things that are going on, and they are up to the minute information. Terry Getman, who was referenced a couple times in our call today by Chuck, has continued to keep up to date on the pulse in the industry. This is really helping you understand what's happening inside the Beltway at Washington and the impact it's going to have on you and your clients. This is going to be a very big year with the change in power, the shift in power in all three of the legislative branches. And as a result, there's going to be a lot of movement. There already has been, there will be more. So you're going to want to stay pretty close to watching the pulse on the industry at our DBS website. And then we've also mentioned the importance of e-solutions. And of course, we have our Fast Term platform where you can go through and just quickly with your clients, help them find solutions that are quick and easy for them to apply for and get that protection block, but also IGO and our e-delivery systems. Everything is out there on the DBS website. All right, let's go back to you, Chuck. Chuck, any final words or comments? Thanks so much for joining us today.
I loved it, and congratulations to you for running a great program. Proud to be part of Securian and get to represent our company on this forum. Looking forward to seeing everybody virtually and hopefully in person. And I wish good health and a good, successful year to everyone involved in your organization, and especially your advisors, Kurt. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Chuck. We appreciate our partnership with Securian as well, and we're so glad you could be with us today. So hang on one second. We're going to share some special words from Securian, and tune in next time. We'll have more information from DBS. So stay tuned and have a great day. Be well and be safe.
At Securian Financial, we're driven by purpose, helping our customers build secure tomorrows. We're here for those who believe a rewarding life is really about being present in the here and now, and that their financial picture should support the everyday moments as much as the major milestones. We've been here for our customers for 140 years. And while we've grown and evolved, we've maintained our recognized strength and never lost sight of those who depend on us. At our core is a set of values we share with those we serve. Today, we're proudly helping millions of customers, providing insurance, investments, and retirement solutions that give them the confidence to focus on what's truly valuable, banking memories with those who matter most. Our commitment to our diverse set of core businesses and product offerings helps ensure our longevity and enduring financial strength, so we can be here for our customers when they need us. And our commitment extends to the professionals who serve them. We're always listening and looking for ways to innovate, bringing fresh, relevant solutions to the customers we serve together. Because we believe that if you're not going forward, you're not going anywhere. Our family of employees brings decades of experience and expertise that they put to work living out our purpose, on the job and in the communities we call home, every day. We've always been here for family and because of family. We believe that what we do should enable people to celebrate family, no matter how they define it. Because family is everything.